Why is there a giant bunny outside of your locker?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not into like holidays and like bunnies and Christmas. I do the Christmas stuff. I got kids, but like I'm not really big like joyful holiday person, I guess. So I don't know why. I think that's really the only spot we can put a big bunny. But I was told it's vibe bunny, and the vibes are high. So there we go.
The vibes are not high about the Philadelphia Eagles. So we have our own positivity bunny because the vibes are high here at HQ and
Works for
CBS
us.
and all that. Their bunny's more like Donnie Darko.
Oh.
Right? Wasn't that a bunny?
I think so.
I think so. A rabbit? Don't really know the difference. That movie terrified me. Two men who do not terrify me normally. Ryan Wilson, John Breech here. Guys, wasn't Donnie Darko a bunny?
Isn't that Roger Rabbit, Breech?
Looks like Roger Rabbit. I think that's Peter. Peter the Positivity Rabbit is his name.
Yeah, but did you guys ever see the Donnie Darko movie?
I don't remember a bunny, but I'm old, so I'm not sure.
Oh my God.
more Breech's
Okay,
lane.
you guys are killing this segment before it's even begun. Hi, Ryan Wilson, John Breech. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Losing positivity. They have now lost 3 in a row after starting 8-2. Where are you on the positivity level, Ryan, for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Surprisingly, I'm a little higher than I thought, and also a little higher than Saquon is on celebrating holidays. That was sort of weird to me. That was a weird takeaway, not about the Rabbit movie conversation that went off the rails pretty quickly there. But in terms of the Eagles overall, they're in the right division because currently they're the only team in the NFC East that's in the playoff picture. All 3 other teams, 2 are already out altogether, and then the Cowboys are still barely having their head above water. So at 8-5 and with a pretty easy schedule down the stretch, including this game on Sunday, they're in a good spot to figure out in the next month how to get things right, because it has not been pretty, mostly on offense, and certainly the way Jalen Hurts played in that game where he could not quit turning the ball over is raising a lot of alarm bells. But again, you're in the right division. If you win the division, you at least get a home game, and you have a month to figure it out. So if they were in the NFC West, for example, I'd be very concerned. Given where they are now, they have a little time to figure it out. They've been here before when Shane Steichen left in terms of the offensive struggling. So there is room for improvement and time to get it done.
Ryan, maybe you need to put a positivity bunny in your room because you are Mr. Optimism right now. I am on the opposite side of the spectrum here. I think the Eagles should put a Grinch in their locker room because that's the vibe they're giving off. Yes, they are in the perfect division. As you mentioned, Ryan, that they can struggle and probably still win the NFC East and still make the playoffs, but you can't really feel good about what this team has done really over the past few weeks. It's not the positivity vibes they're giving off. They're giving off vibes of 2023, and we all know what happened that year, and that's when they had that total collapse and ended up going 1 and done in the playoffs. And if they can't get things flipped around soon, that really feels like the path that they're going to start going down. Sure, they may win the division, they may host a wild card playoff game, but it does feel like a 1 and done team. So I do think that, Ryan, there is something to be said. You look at the rest of their schedule, they get to play the Raiders, they get to play the Commanders twice, so certainly there are a bunch of winnable games, and so the division does feel safe, but beyond that, I don't feel good about anything else the Eagles are doing.
Okay, that's fine. We can work on it. The vibes Jalen Hurts is giving off would be January 2nd, 2018, when he was benched in the national championship, playing for Alabama. Look, a lot of people are calling him to be on the bench. That seems ridiculous, though. Ryan, 5 turnovers. It was horrible. Every time I looked at the TV, the ball was getting turned over into the other team. Your concern level, since you are Mr. Positive today, about Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that's important to remember. And by the way, if we're living in a world where I'm the most positive person in the room, that includes John Breech, something has gone horribly wrong, and maybe that is a perfect encapsulation of the Philadelphia Eagles. The other thing that you don't want to happen if you're an NFL quarterback, or any quarterback really, is to throw an interception and also fumble that on the same play. All that said, Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator, has taken a ton of heat. They have to continue to make life easier for Jalen Hurts. They have not done that. A.J. Brown has had 3 100-yard games in a row. That's great. He needs to quit dropping balls in critical moments as well. well. And they need to get the running game going. And all those things have not happened, especially recently. And I think that's why Jalen is where he is. You can put anybody back there you want, from Ron Jaworski to Carson Wentz, and it's going to be the same result. So I think you have to continue to help Jalen Hurts help himself. He has never been a Tom Brady-like player, or even a Joe Burrow-like player where he can take over games. You have to help him out. And the Eagles have not done that offensively for much of the season, to be honest.
Yeah, and there's no world where Jalen Hurts should be benched. Eagles fans will literally just complain about everything. You're coming off a Super Bowl win. There's nothing to complain about. There's a new Lombardi trophy. But yes, the offense is struggling right now. And really, I do think the focal point of that is Jalen Hurts. It's not just the turnovers he had against the Chargers. He's been struggling really since their Week 9 bye. And we're heading into Week 15. So we're talking about 5 straight weeks where he hasn't played great football. The Eagles have only scored more than 20 points one time in their past 5 games. Jalen Hurts has only thrown for more than 240 yards one time in their past 5 games. So he has been struggling. It wasn't just his 4 interception performance in Los Angeles. So I do think that one of the issues is that this has almost been going on all year. I mean, you look at earlier in the season when A.J. Brown was complaining every other week about the offense's inability to throw the football, and that's just kind of bled into where we are right now. And A.J. Brown's not helping things. He had a couple drops against the Chargers, one of them that led to an interception. So it just seems like this perfect confluence of negativity. The offensive line has struggled. Lane Johnson's been injured. Saquon Barkley hasn't looked explosive. It's just one thing after another for this team. Jalen Hurts is one of the problems. He's not the problem, and they still have time to fix it.
I'm going to try to make you guys cool again. Did you at least see the video, the viral video of the cops having to show up to an Eagles fan's house after that loss?
Of course not. Come on, Amanda.
Are you serious?
I don't have the internet, Amanda.
Jeez Louise, you guys are sadder than I thought. Impact player to watch, neither one of you for the Eagles. Ryan, who are you going with?
Sad. You're sadder than I thought. That sounds like something my wife says at least once a month. So I will try to uplift us all. A.J. Brown could do a little uplifting as well. John talked about how he, even though he has had over 300 receiving yards the last 3 games combined, he has caused more problems than he's solved. Maybe he was better served going on Twitch. I actually know what that is, Amanda, and downplaying his value as a fantasy player because the previous 10 weeks he only had twice gone over 100 yards. Catch the football, block. If you go back and watch the game last week when they lost to the Chargers, there are instances where Saquon's on the edge and he blocks for a minute, and then AJ decides it's not worth his time. You need to be all in, all 60 plays that you're on the field to help turn this thing around, because as John noted, while the schedule is easy, if you continue to play this way, you're going to be it's going to be a reinvention of that Tampa Bay playoff loss back in 2023 when they got their doors blown off down in Tampa Bay. So AJ Brown needs to step up in addition to catching the ball and doing the other little things to help this team.
And Amanda, I have a 5-year-old. The only viral videos I watch are cat videos and clips of K-pop demon hunters. That's my entire life right now. But for the Eagles impact player, I'm going to go to the other side of the ball and look at Jordan Davis. I think when you look at Philadelphia, they have lost 3 straight games. So the Raiders are going to go into this game upset-minded. They're going to think, hey, let's go in, let's beat Philadelphia. The way you nip that in the bud right away is you punch the Raiders in the mouth, and that is where Jordan Davis comes in. The Eagles need to come out. They need to bully the Raiders on Sunday. And you look at what Jordan Davis has done, he's really had a breakthrough season. This is a guy who's a 13th overall pick in 2022. Everybody was kind of waiting for him to take that next step, and he really has done it this year. Had a spectacular game against the Chargers on Monday. He's tied for the team lead in sacks at 4.5. He leads the team in tackles for loss. So what he's done this year has been pretty strong. Jalen Carter, we don't know if he's going to be out there, so that's why you need your other defensive tackle to really step up and take ownership of that defense. This defense has played well all season. Jordan Davis has been a big part of that, and he needs to continue it against the Raiders on Sunday.
Well, on the Raiders side, we just talked to Amy Trask a few minutes ago. She said, look, maybe there's no hope for this team right now. There is no hope for this team right now, but you can play upset to the Eagles, and that is always fun. So, John, impact player for the Raiders.
My impact player is Ashton Jeanty. I just look at the Eagles' losing streak, and what has happened during this losing streak is that teams are beating them because they're able to successfully run the ball on them. The Eagles are 1-5 this year when they've given up more than 125 rushing yards, so they have struggled. And when you look at these last 3 games, they're giving up 191 yards per game on average during this losing streak. So that's what you do. You're the Raiders. You don't really have any hope. Let's just feed Ashton Jeanty. That's what Pete Carroll wants to do. That guy just wants to run the ball and play defense. That would be Pete Carroll's ideal day and ideal way to pick up a win. That is the Raiders' best path forward this week because they're probably going to have a new starting quarterback in Kenny Pickett. And yes, he's going to want revenge, but I think the offense needs to run through Ashton Jeanty on Sunday.
I'm going to go with Kenny Pickett. It's funny you mentioned revenge, John. Kenny Pickett got a Super Bowl ring by doing as much as you or I did to help that Eagles team win the Super Bowl a year ago. So I don't know if it's a revenge game, but your other point, Ashton Jeanty could very easily be his best friend. What is encouraging, as a Steelers fan, there wasn't a lot of encouraging about the Kenny Pickett era in Pittsburgh, but last week when he came in for Geno Smith, he went 8 of 11 for 97 yards, had a big boy touchdown throw in garbage time, but it still counts. It goes on the record books as a touchdown. So you lean on Ashton Jeanty. You have to get him going. You talked about Jordan Davis's impact. The 2 tackles, Stone Forsythe and DJ Glaze, have combined to give up 17 sacks and 70 pressures this year. All the more reason to get the ball out quickly to Brock Bowers, turn around, hand the ball off to Ashton Jeanty, throw screen passes to Ashton Jeanty. And to your larger point, Amanda, if all this happens, and I know hope ain't a plan, if the Raiders upset the Eagles, it's officially over Philadelphia. I'm not there yet, but that's how you're going to have to do it, leaning on your rookie, leaning on your second-year player, Brock Bowers, and leaning on a journeyman quarterback at this point, Kenny Pickett.
Our curmudgeon finally returns, the guy who likes to watch videos on how the world could potentially end. Fun fact about Ryan Wilson. Guys, so will it in with the Eagles? Give me a pick in this game. It is a huge line here. Eagles favored by 11.5. Ryan, give us your pick.
The crazy thing is, and John, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is right. Pete Carroll's never lost to the Eagles.
9-0. He's 9-0. Yeah.
9-0, which is bonkers crazy. And I think the spread last time I saw it was 12.5. Look, man, I've seen Kenny Pickett plenty enough to know, and I've seen the Eagles enough to know, even though they struggle. Eagles are going to win this game, and I feel like they're going to cover, John. Maybe that's crazy to me, but if you told me they won by 2 touchdowns, I could certainly get behind that.
Ryan, Eagles fans might burn down the city of Philadelphia if Kenny Pickett goes in there and beats his old team while playing for the Raiders. I mean, that would just be one of the wildest upsets of the NFL season. I do think Kenny Pickett is going to be very motivated to play well. He's not just facing his old team. It's also his first start of the season. So he wants to show that he can still sling the football. And then we have a struggling Eagles team. We just went over all the reasons why their offense is struggling. Their defense is still playing well. So I do think the Raiders are going to keep this close. A double-digit spread with the Eagles just seems a little too much. So I'm going to say the Eagles by a touchdown to the Raiders. Eagles win, Raiders cover.
All right, there we go. Brian Wilson, John Breech. You guys are not that old. We're going to have to work on this. I appreciate talking to both of you. Enjoy the weekend in Week 15 coming up. Game day reset Sunday at 4 Eastern, kind of getting you adjusted right in the middle of those early and late games.